Another thing that happens when you have this conversation about salvation, as we're talking about, is the question about whether or not it can be lost. And that one I wanted to articulate in a clear way and come back to a little bit, because I think for a Catholic, this latter part of the question is really key, because we have such an implicit cultural understanding of sin, the sense that when we've done something wrong, we ought to go to confession. We know that the life of grace can be destroyed in our hearts, that there are things that can be done that would render us unfit to receive Holy Communion, for example, to sound the resonances of some of the scriptural evidences of that, right? So we know that we can be cut off from the body in a certain way in the life of grace. So to raise that question, I think, is helpful when it comes to salvation, because it doesn't seem like otherwise you could be cut off from the body, but then have assured your eternal salvation in one and the same moment. It seems like it's a kind of all or nothing thing.
Yeah, I think there's a sense in which you could say the Protestant view, and we'll just give the Protestant view, for instance, in the Calvinist side of things, that salvation is the decree on God's behalf that has no relationship to your freedom, more or less, that it's kind of there. And so you can't lose it, it's eternally. And so you get these worries in the Protestant circles. I mean, I guess that you could want to do everything. You could feel like your life was in the life of grace. You could be loving God, serving him, but you were not sure. How could you be sure that you weren't actually one of the reprobate, one that he'd chosen to send to hell and create as vessels of wrath, as Paul talks about in Romans 9, as opposed to vessels for glory, the other side of things? And I think the part of the appeal to the once saved, always saved, and this kind of mentality, is to avoid some anxiety. Like, it's not up to me, it's all up his business. But I think that anyone who thinks that through realizes what you say is there something actually more deeply unsettling about it? Because we are human beings, we've been created in the image and likeness of God, unlike other animals and plants and things that just are working out according to his will. We have wills and free wills in some capacity that needs to be explained, and that sin actually does make a difference. And it seems weird to say, well, if I've sinned and need to go to confession, I must not have been in his good graces in the first. It's totally counterintuitive. So I think there's a naturalness to the Catholic view of this kind of fragility, potential fertility of grace on our part, right? Our dance that we play with the Lord, that we could misstep, this sort of thing. But at the same time, once we realize that, I think we need to also realize that it's God who is the author of salvation, right? And that at the end of the day, all of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. The baptism is not a ratification of our goodness that we'll do in the future, but rather an election by him to start the process and to give us the grace to do what we need to do, which is to follow him.
Father Bonaventure, if you had to choose between getting Warby Parker glasses, subscribing to a YouTube channel, or flossing your teeth, what would you choose?
Oof. I guess, to be honest, subscribing to a YouTube channel.
See, folks, it's not as bad as flossing your teeth or getting Warby Parker glasses. Please subscribe to Godsplaining. Cheers.